Hello, I'm Sakiz, and on this channel, we explore fictional mysterious stories that feel eerily close to reality. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that reveals the darkest side of medical technology. This story begins in Seattle, where 50 people bought the same revolutionary 3D bioprinter. And Dr. Lisa Chen documented every organ that disappeared. This isn't just a technology malfunction. This is proof of how medical innovation can blur the line between healing and harvesting. And Lisa has 72 hours of surgical evidence to prove it. Are you ready? Let's go back to that week when 3D printing became 3D killing. November 10, 2024, Monday morning. Seattle was buzzing with excitement about the latest breakthrough in medical technology. BioForge Industries had just released their consumer-grade 3D bioprinter, promising to democratize medical education and bring organ modeling to every home. The BioForge X1 was marketed as the perfect tool for medical students, researchers, and hobbyists interested in biological sciences. For $3,500, users could print detailed anatomical models, tissue samples, and educational organ replicas using the company's proprietary bioink cartridges. David Rodriguez, a 42-year-old biomedical engineer, was among the first 50 customers in Seattle to purchase the BioForge X1. He lived at 1847 Pine Street and had bought the printer to help his teenage daughter with her advanced biology studies. The setup process was surprisingly simple. After unboxing the sleek white device, David connected it to his home Wi-Fi network and downloaded the BioForge app. The interface was professional and intuitive, offering pre-designed organ models, tissue templates, and even custom scanning capabilities. Welcome to BioForge. Your personal bioprinting revolution starts now. Please complete user verification to access our comprehensive organ library. The verification process seemed thorough but reasonable: medical background checks, intended use declarations, and biometric scanning for security purposes. David appreciated the company's attention to safety and ethical considerations in medical technology. But what David didn't know was that BioForge was collecting far more than just user verification data. Within the first week, David was amazed by the BioForge X1's capabilities. The printer produced incredibly detailed heart models, liver replicas, and kidney structures that looked almost indistinguishable from real organs. His daughter's biology grades improved dramatically as she could study actual-sized anatomical models. Other BioForge users in Seattle were equally impressed. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a medical student at the University of Washington, used her printer to create study materials for her anatomy exams. Thomas Chen, a high school science teacher, incorporated organ models into his classroom demonstrations. The BioForge community app allowed users to share their creations, exchange printing tips, and even request custom organ designs from other users. The sense of scientific collaboration and educational advancement made everyone feel like they were part of a revolutionary medical movement. But 2 weeks after installation, David began noticing strange requests from the BioForge app. Instead of suggesting educational models, the software started asking for biological reference scans and tissue compatibility assessments. When David contacted customer support, they explained these were advanced features for premium users. Mr. Rodriguez, congratulations on being selected for our beta medical program. To unlock advanced bioprinting capabilities, we need to perform comprehensive biological mapping of potential organ recipients in your area. David trusted the explanation because BioForge seemed like a legitimate medical technology company. The app's interface was professional, the printed models were incredibly accurate, and the company claimed partnerships with major hospitals and medical schools. What David didn't realize was that BioForge was creating detailed biological profiles of every user and their family members for a very different purpose than education. 3 weeks after purchasing his BioForge X1, David started receiving unusual notifications from the app. The software would send him alerts about local medical emergencies and organ availability updates in his neighborhood. When he tried to disable these notifications, the app claimed they were essential for community medical awareness. The most disturbing development was when the BioForge app began requesting access to David's medical records, fitness tracker data, and even his family's health information. The company claimed this data was necessary for personalized organ modeling and medical compatibility assessments. David's daughter Sarah mentioned that several of her classmates who also had BioForge printers had started receiving similar requests. Some families had even been contacted by medical research coordinators, offering to pay for detailed health examinations and blood work. "Dad, this is getting weird. The BioForge app keeps asking me about my blood type, medical history, and even wants to schedule a comprehensive health assessment at their facility. I thought this was supposed to be for school projects." David attempted to uninstall the BioForge software, but discovered that the app had somehow integrated itself deeply into his home network and computer systems. The company claimed that removing the software would void his warranty and potentially damage the expensive printer. When David researched BioForge Industries online, he found very little information about the company's background, leadership, or actual medical partnerships. Most concerning of all, he discovered that several BioForge users in other cities had recently died in medical emergencies involving organ transplant complications. That's when David realized his family might be in serious danger. Dr. James Wilson, King County's chief medical examiner, had been puzzled by a series of recent deaths involving individuals who had supposedly died during experimental medical procedures at facilities that didn't seem to exist. When Detective Miller brought him information about the BioForge connection, Dr. Wilson decided to re-examine several suspicious cases. What he discovered was horrifying. 5 people in the past month had died from surgical procedures involving organ removal, but the operations had been performed outside of any licensed medical facility. The victims had been lured to fake clinics with promises of participating in cutting-edge medical research or receiving emergency life-saving treatments. Detective Miller, these aren't accidental deaths or medical malpractice cases. These are coordinated surgical murders. Someone is using these victims' biological data to determine which organs are most valuable, then luring them to illegal harvesting operations. Dr. Wilson's forensic analysis revealed that the organ removal procedures had been performed with sophisticated medical equipment and techniques, suggesting that the perpetrators had access to professional surgical tools and expertise. The precision of the operations indicated this wasn't the work of amateur criminals. Most disturbing of all, Dr. Wilson found evidence that the stolen organs had been preserved using advanced bioprinting technology, specifically, the same type of biopreservation techniques advertised by BioForge Industries. Detective Miller realized they were dealing with an organized organ trafficking network that was using 3D bioprinting technology not to create artificial organs, but to identify, target, and harvest real organs from unsuspecting victims. The BioForge printers weren't medical education tools, they were surveillance devices designed to collect biological data for an illegal organ trafficking operation. Working with the FBI's Cybercrime Division, Detective Miller uncovered the true scope of the BioForge conspiracy. The company had been founded by Marcus Kane, a former medical device executive who had been banned from the industry after being involved in illegal clinical trials. Kane's plan was sophisticated and methodical. BioForge would sell legitimate-looking 3D bioprinters to medical students, researchers, and healthcare enthusiasts, then use the devices to collect comprehensive biological data on users and their families. The printer's Wi-Fi connectivity and required app registration allowed the company to build detailed profiles of potential organ donors. Once BioForge identified individuals with valuable organ compatibility factors, the company would orchestrate fake medical emergencies to lure victims to illegal harvesting facilities. The stolen organs would then be sold on the black market to wealthy patients willing to pay premium prices for untraceable transplants. FBI agents discovered that BioForge had targeted medical students and healthcare workers specifically because these individuals were more likely to trust medical technology companies and respond to emergency medical requests. The company had also focused on young, healthy individuals whose organs would command the highest prices. The most chilling aspect of the operation was its scale. BioForge had sold over 2,000 printers across 12 cities, creating a nationwide network of potential organ harvesting targets. Each printer was essentially a biological surveillance device feeding data to a centralized organ trafficking database. Detective Miller learned that Seattle had been selected as a test market because of its large medical student population and high concentration of healthcare professionals who would be interested in advanced bioprinting technology. As the FBI investigation closed in on BioForge Industries, Marcus Kane activated what he called Operation Harvest, a coordinated plan to extract maximum value from the Seattle bioprinter network before shutting down the operation. Over a single weekend, 23 BioForge users in Seattle received urgent calls claiming they had been exposed to a dangerous pathogen during a recent medical conference or hospital visit. The callers, posing as CDC officials, insisted that immediate medical evaluation and treatment was necessary to prevent serious illness. David Rodriguez was among those targeted. On Saturday morning, he received a call claiming his daughter Sarah had been exposed to a rare virus at her school and needed immediate medical attention at a specialized treatment facility. The caller provided detailed information about Sarah's medical history and recent activities that could only have come from BioForge's data collection. Mr. Rodriguez, this is Dr. Patricia Wong from the CDC Emergency Response Team. Your daughter was identified as having potential exposure to a class of biological agent. We need both of you to report to our medical facility immediately for evaluation and treatment. David's engineering background made him suspicious of the call's urgency and the facility's location in an industrial area outside Seattle. Instead of complying, he contacted Detective Miller, who confirmed that the CDC had issued no such warnings and that the facility address was a warehouse owned by a shell company connected to BioForge. Detective Miller realized that Marcus Kane was attempting to harvest organs from multiple victims simultaneously before disappearing with the profits. The FBI coordinated with local law enforcement to intercept the fake medical transports and rescue potential victims who had been lured to the harvesting facilities. The FBI's coordinated raid on BioForge's organ harvesting network revealed the full horror of Marcus Kane's operation. Hidden in warehouses across Seattle, investigators found illegal surgical facilities equipped with advanced medical equipment, organ preservation systems, and bioprinting technology used to maintain stolen organs. At the main facility, FBI agents interrupted an active organ harvesting operation. 3 victims who had been lured by fake medical emergencies were sedated and prepared for surgery when law enforcement arrived. The surgical team, consisting of disgraced doctors and unlicensed medical personnel, was arrested while attempting to harvest a kidney from a 24-year-old medical student. Marcus Kane was found in a command center monitoring the biological data from hundreds of BioForge printers across the country. Computer screens displayed detailed profiles of potential victims, including their medical histories, organ compatibility factors, and optimal harvesting schedules. Agent Morrison, you don't understand the medical revolution we're creating here. These people were contributing to life-saving research. The organs we harvest save lives that would otherwise be lost to inefficient transplant systems. Kane's justification revealed the twisted logic behind the operation. He claimed that stealing organs from healthy young people was more efficient than waiting for voluntary donations, and that wealthy patients deserved access to premium organs regardless of legal or ethical considerations. The evidence against Kane was overwhelming: detailed records of organ sales, victim targeting data, and financial transactions totaling over $50 million in illegal organ trafficking revenue. The BioForge network had successfully harvested organs from 127 victims across 12 cities over an 18-month period. The coordinated FBI operation resulted in the arrest of 47 individuals involved in the BioForge organ trafficking network, including Marcus Kane, corrupt medical personnel, and criminal associates who handled organ transportation and sales. Marcus Kane was charged with conspiracy to commit murder, human trafficking, mail fraud, and racketeering. The evidence included victim testimonies, financial records, and forensic evidence from illegal surgical facilities. Kane's organization had generated over $50 million in revenue from stolen organs. BioForge Industries collapsed immediately as the scope of the criminal operation became public. The company's investors, who claimed ignorance of the organ trafficking activities, faced lawsuits from victims' families and regulatory investigations into their due diligence failures. The legal consequences extended beyond the criminal charges. Hospitals and medical institutions that had unknowingly received stolen organs faced ethical investigations and potential liability for participating in the illegal transplant network. But for the survivors and families of victims, legal justice felt insufficient. 127 people had died so that wealthy patients could receive premium organs outside the legitimate transplant system. Many victims had been young medical students and healthcare workers who had trusted technology that was supposed to advance medical education. 6 months later, the medical technology industry had implemented new regulations for bioprinting devices and biological data collection. The BioForge case led to federal oversight of companies marketing medical devices to consumers and stricter requirements for biological data handling. David Rodriguez became an advocate for medical technology safety and consumer protection in healthcare devices. He testified before Congress about the need for transparency in medical device data collection and the dangers of allowing unregulated companies to access personal health information. The lesson of the BioForge conspiracy, David told lawmakers, is that when we bring medical technology into our homes, we're also inviting the intentions of the people who control that technology. Sometimes the promise of medical advancement can literally cost us our lives. Detective Sarah Miller now leads a federal task force investigating technology-based human trafficking and organ crime. Her team has discovered that the BioForge case was not isolated. Other criminal organizations have attempted to use medical devices, health apps, and genetic testing services to identify and target potential victims. Marcus Kane was sentenced to life in prison without parole, but the technology and methods he developed have inspired copycat operations worldwide. The bioprinting industry now operates under strict federal oversight to prevent medical devices from becoming tools for human exploitation. David still supports legitimate medical technology and bioprinting research, but now he carefully investigates any company requesting personal health data. Real medical innovation, he says, should heal people, not harvest them. And the most dangerous medical devices are often the ones that seem most helpful. The BioForge printers that promised to revolutionize medical education became instruments of human trafficking and murder. And in the world of medical technology, the most sophisticated healing tools can become the most efficient killing machines.